How the Universe Works and How to Create a Magnificent Life by Claire Louise Hay. But why? Are you ready for your world to be rocked? You have attracted this book because you've been asking the questions that this book will answer. I attracted the information to put in this book because I was asking questions too. The question that I have been asking is, how does the universe work? Prepare yourself for something that might stretch your beliefs now. I am a psychic, which only means that I'm more perceptive of energy than most and can verbalize it. And I know that we all have access to the everything, to all knowledge. Putting these two together means that I have telepathic access to not only humans, but to spirits, souls, higher selves, aliens, animals, angels, trees, rocks, and whatever else you can think of that's in our universe. I have used this gift to help myself and others heal themselves and release anything that's standing in the way of them having anything they want in their life, such as emotions, beliefs, self-doubt, etc. I have used this gift to answer people's most burning questions about themselves and their lives. I also use this gift to quench my unending questioning nature, and luckily getting my answers direct from source. I refer to the everything as either the universe or source, and not God, Allah, or any other name that might be given to this concept. This is because I experience the everything as just that, everything, rather than a personified version of itself. But how? I have done all kinds of personal manifestation practices, achieving both success and failure. Sometimes it was clear what I was doing right when I achieved success, sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes it was clear what I was doing wrong when I achieved failure, and sometimes it wasn't. I found myself in a perpetual state of trying too hard, trying to figure it all out. I devoted my life to not only helping other people, but to figuring out the whole universe so that we can be much more empowered creator beings, able to easily manifest. I've been researching, reading, working on myself, doing countless classes and courses. I've searched everywhere for the answers. If only we knew how the universe worked instead of just knowing the laws of the universe, then it would be easy to know in the moment whether what you are doing is attracting success or failure, right? We're just like children, every single one of us. Tell us a rule without telling us why we need to follow that rule, and we stomp our feet and will sometimes follow it, sometimes rebel against it, but remain disempowered throughout. Last week, I was meditating outside in my garden next to the water. Meditation is what I do to listen to the universe with my gift of telepathy. On this particular occasion, I was focused on self-worth and forgiveness and the connection between the two. I wanted to know what the connection was, and I was listening for the answer. Instead of getting a clear answer, as is often the way, I was told to open my eyes. When I opened my eyes, there was a rainbow right in front of me, caused by the sunshine reflecting through some water that was on a ledge. You know the myth that the pot of gold is found at the end of the rainbow, right? The rainbow ended on my feet. I was at the end of the rainbow. I am the pot of gold, the answer that I was looking for. It was so profound and amusing, but how am I the answer? Every week I have an online meeting that I have with some specially selected people. All present are leaders with a particular interest in healing, all being asked to lead a change that many of us have wanted for a long time in this world. In this meeting I telepathically connect with and channel messages from the spiritual guides, our spiritual teams, source, and whomever or whatever is helping us to do this. Every week we're giving new revelations, new concepts, guidance for our next steps, etc. I am often given the information to pass on in the form of images direct into my mind, much like your imagination feels to you. Yesterday I was in the same meeting and I was shown how the universe works. I was shown in the form of images, how we attract what we attract, how we repel what we repel, how we repel what we think we are attracting, how we attract what we think we are repelling. I was shown how it all works. While I was being shown these images, I was explaining to the healers present what I was being shown and what it means. It was a revelation to us all. Everything made so much sense now we knew the how. We had been given the key that makes life easy. We had been told why the things that other leaders are teaching works and why sometimes it doesn't. What's more, it is easy to understand. I knew right away that I needed to tell the world this revelation, and I needed to share it fast. That's why I'm sat in my pajamas at my desk writing this book today. This information needs to be shared, and it needs to be shared fast. Are you ready? Jump right in. Who are you? Before I get started on how the universe works, you need to know who you really are. You are a creator spirit. You are a part of Source, the universe, the everything, or God. You have all the power of Source at your fingertips. You're not just like God or Source, but you are a fragment of Source. If you imagine Source to be an ocean, you are a droplet in that ocean, part of it, indistinguishable from it, with the same characteristics as it, made of the same stuff. Then you are getting somewhat closer to the truth of who you really are. You have a higher self in spirit form that is all-knowing, meaning it has complete access to the everything. Your higher self has access to all knowledge, all energy, everybody, everything, and every other higher self. Your higher self is in spirit form all of the time. It is the real you. Your higher self is in spirit form even when you are incarnated on this planet. The access to everything that I talk of is energetic access. Everything is energy. Physicality is our perception of all energy other than and including ourselves through the filter of our own energy. What we see and experience as our reality is the projection of our energy and perception of other energy in relation to ourselves. To put that in an easy way to understand, the reality we all think we know doesn't exist. We all see and experience different things than each other. Even when we're looking at or experiencing the same thing as someone else, we perceive it as different because it comes through the filter of our own energy. Your energy affects everything and everybody around you. Everything and everybody around you affects your energy. Why do we have this illusion of physicality, and why is our higher self doing this to us? In short, because we love it. We love creating. It's who we are. In spirit form, we create consciously too, but there's little drive to do so because we already have it all. So our higher selves all created an aspect of ourselves to have a human experience. I use the word aspect for lack of another word to correctly describe it. We do not duplicate ourselves. Think of the droplet again, and the droplet having a top and a bottom. Even though there's no physical separation between the top and the bottom, and no way of detecting where the top stops and the bottom begins, our higher selves is the top of the droplet, that is ourselves, and our human selves are the bottom of that droplet. Sorry to blow your mind, but there's no time in reality either. So you're not just in two places at once, but you're omnipresent. But you don't need to get your head around that one at this stage. Let's just pretend that time is real, and we have our human self and our higher self, which are really just two facets of one, which is itself just one facet of the everything. Are you still with me? The important points that you really need to grasp are: you have a higher self that knows everything. Your higher self is always in spirit form as part of Source and is always connected to you. Your human self is the part of that higher self that is having a human experience for the fun of it. As our human selves, we don't necessarily have access to the everything, although that is available to each and every one of us. We tend to place limits on ourselves which keep us from having the same experience as our higher selves. Why would we think that this is fun? Remember, we are creator beings. We love creating. Have you ever challenged yourself? Made something harder for yourself so that the achievement is greater? Tried to ride your bike without using your hands? Tried to eat a sugar-coated donut without licking your lips? Tried to climb a mountain? Placing limits on ourselves makes creating way more fun. You know this. You've already experienced it. What makes having a human experience even more fun is that we get to perceive the result of our conscious creations physically, and we also get to perceive emotional creations such as love, fear, excitement, and connection. You might be thinking, well, trying to ride my bike without using my hands is fun, but putting myself in stressful situations in life isn't much fun at all. It is fun to our higher selves, and the more you align with your higher self, understand your higher self, and share the same viewpoint as your higher self, the less you'll stress and the more you'll find joy in your life. The limitations and challenges are what makes life fun. The harder our challenges, the greater are our creations, the more satisfaction we get from them. The universe is the whole energy of the everything, which can be viewed as a collection of individual collections of energy. Those individual collections of energy can in turn be viewed as a collection of individual collections of energy, and so on. For example, Source can be viewed as a collection of everybody and everything that it is. But everybody and everything that is can also be viewed as having parts, and those parts can in turn be viewed as having parts. At every level of perception, we have energy collections that are constantly affecting and being affected by each other. Now imagine the cluster of energy that is you, your energetic self. You are a cluster of energy with energetic tentacles growing out toward anything that you're consciously focused on. You could imagine Source as a grid, a matrix, or just like a neural network, because it is. The law of creation. There is only one law in the universe, the law of creation. Every other law or rule has been made up by humans, including the law of attraction. The law of attraction states that like energy attracts like energy. Taught as being the way the universe works to match us up with what we want, what we need, and what we want to create. This would mean that everything we consciously focus on, we attract to us. This is only part of the picture. The law of creation, however, states that whatever consciousness is focused on is created. That's create, completely from scratch. In the material world, this means that so many of us are focusing our conscious attention on what we already have here, that we are constantly recreating what we already have. We all recreate our physical bodies every day, usually with the same flaws and unwanted problems because of our focus. A few people, including myself, are consciously focused beyond what we already have or know, probing into the unknown, coming up with new ideas to create, breaking through perceived limitations, changing the world. Psst, you can too. You might say, if it were true that I can create whatever I focus my attention on, then I'd be a millionaire right now. I'd have to reply, sorry, it is true, but you're trying to attract millions from a perceived limited pool, or you're repelling millions, not creating them. But let me explain, not just why, but how it's happening. There are no exceptions. Whatever you are focused on, you create. However, what you think you're focused on can be very different to what the energetic you is really focused on. Let's divide ourselves up again into 3 parts. The higher self, all-knowing and whole. The human self, our conscious mind. the energetic self, ego, or subconscious mind. Let me explain how the energetic you, the energetic universe, works together with the use of some imagery to make it easier to understand. Firstly, your higher self has created your human self and your energetic self through its conscious focus. Let's say human you are a master at meditation and you've trained your mind to focus on just one thing at once. This is what your energy would look like when you focus consciously on water. You look like a collection of energy that we can imagine looks like cells under a microscope. Your energy is constantly on the move. Your tentacles are growing and receding with every thought that you have. In this example, your energy tentacle has grown and is touching water energy. Because you're thinking about it, you're consciously focused on it and have created it. Many others are thinking about water too, and so water not only exists, but has billions of energetic tentacles protruding from it, connecting with everyone and everything that is focused on water. You, however, have one point of focus, just water, so you are only interacting with water energy right now. Only one energetic tentacle has grown and has touched the water energy. What's more, water is just like you. It's a collection of source energy that has been created by your conscious focus. When you think about water, water thinks about you. Thinking is something that seems so human and not available to water, but what we're really talking about is consciousness. Everything in the universe has consciousness. The universe is consciousness. So when you are conscious of water, water is conscious of you. Both of you protrude an energetic tentacle toward each other, and when these energetic tentacles meet, they mingle energy with each other. You taste the energy of the water, or to put it in more correct terms, you become the energy of water more than you were previously. What's more, water is also tasting you. It's becoming a little more of you while you're both focused on each other. You are being affected by water energy, and water energy is being affected by you. You are mingling energies and becoming more like each other. This is what we know of as the law of attraction in action. Your human form will now attract water to you, maybe in the form of a glass of water, an ocean, a puddle, or a lake. Water is also attracted to you because it's taken on some of your energy. It shows up for you because it's been created by you. If there's one thing that we love more than creation, it's connection. Love and acceptance are facets of connection. We yearn to be like our higher selves and be connected to everything once more. It feels good to be connected, like love feels good. Water has become more like you. You love it more. You feel more of a connection to it, and you attract it. You've become a bit more like water. Water feels more of an attraction toward you. It loves you more, and it wants to connect with you because you feel nice. Let's look at another example. In this example, you're consciously focused on an old friend. In other words, you think about an old friend. Your old friend already exists. Their higher self created them. The moment you think about an old friend, you protrude an energetic tentacle toward your old friend's energy. Their energetic self also protrudes an energetic tentacle toward you, even though they may or may not be consciously aware of their attention on you. Their energetic self is aware. In other words, they might have been aware that they thought of you at the same time, or they might not. Either way, whomever was the first to instigate this thought of the other also set off the other's energetic tentacle growth and their consciousness of the other. That would be true if time existed, of course. When your tentacles meet, you share your energy with each other. You mingle energies. You become a little more like them, and they become a little more like you. Even if you stop thinking about this old friend, the energy mingling of the moment is sufficient to set off an attraction pattern. That you have mingled energy and become much more like each other attracts you to each other. Then you bump into each other on the street, or they call you. We've all had the experience of that happening, and this energetic mingling through thought focus is how it happens. Your old friend is more attracted to you than they were before because you are more like them. You are more attracted to them now because they are more like you. And the universe brings you together because connection feels good and is aligned with who you really are. Remember, you are really your higher self, connected to the whole, having access to everything and everyone. Your higher self's energy pattern has an infinitely expanding number of tentacles connected to everything that is. Yes, but I'm not a millionaire yet, Claire. Stick with me and I'll explain why. In both of my examples so far, water and old friend are nice and easy energies to connect with. Imagine now that your tentacles are your arms and your old friend is in a box with a hole in it. You feel no fear of putting your hand in that box and feeling your old friend. You only feel good about that person, not scary at all. You put your hand and arm straight in that box and reach out to your old friend and touch them, and they reach out their hand to you, and you hold hands and share some love energy through the contact. It's easy to think about an old friend in that willing way because you love them and they don't scare you. Your tentacle reaches out to them to mingle with their energy without hesitation. This is why attracting an old friend is by far the easiest thing for anyone to do with only the slightest thought of them. Imagine that a glass of water is in that box. That's not scary either. You reach right in and touch the water. Now imagine that you're in the middle of a desert having a thirsty experience. You're so thirsty you think you might die before you find any water. You don't see water anywhere. You think that you're focused on water, but you're actually focused on thirst and death. Your energy looks like this. You're not thinking of water with a love energy, but with a fear energy. A fearful hand will not go into that box. A fearful tentacle will not reach that target energy. It will pull back, afraid to touch it. Do you think that water wants to connect with something that feels like death and thirst? No, that feels horrible to it. Thirst and death feel nothing like water. In fact, water can only feel the difference between them and feel no similarities at all. Water is scared of you. You are scary. You're seeming very attractive to death right now, though. Death can feel the similarities between you. You feel like death. Death is attracted to you. Thirst is attracted to you right now. You feel like thirst. You're mingling your energy with death and thirst and attracting them like crazy. Meanwhile, water is just feeling that you're becoming less and less like water. It's thinking of breaking up with you. The relationship is just not working anymore. Water is wondering why you ever got together in the first place. You don't seem to have anything in common. It can't even remember having anything in common with you. Are you starting to understand how the universe works now? Let's investigate another example. You think you're focused on $1 million, right? Are you focused on $1 million with love or fear energy? I'd love $1 million, love energy, of course. Well, let's see. No, $1 million is shy of you. It's repelled from you because it feels your energy. You feel like not enough. You feel like bills. $1 million feels like plenty. It feels like spending. It feels like joy. It feels like generous. It feels like more than enough. It feels like choice. It feels like freedom. It feels like opportunity. It can only feel how different you are to it, and it does not want to touch your energy at all, because it is $1 million and only wants to expand, not to diminish. But hey, hang on a minute. If $1 million was in a box, I'd put my hand right in there, no hesitation, and I'd grab the $1 million. My tentacle should be extending toward it while it keeps away from me. Well, that's just not possible. If you felt love for $1 million, then it would be connected to you and mingling with you. In other words, it would be in your experience. You'd be a millionaire right now. You'd have mingled your energy with $1 million, and you'd be attracting each other like crazy. But you aren't. You're not having that $1 million idea. You probably aren't even hanging out with millionaires. You probably don't even have love thoughts toward millionaires that you see on TV. Are you sure you're extending love energy to $1 million? I'm sure that you aren't. You're probably mingling energy with plenty of other people who don't love millionaires. You're probably mingling energy with lots of beliefs that are anti-million, such as greedy, ego, show-off, princess, diva, exploiter. Judgments like these do not feel like $1 million. What does feel like $1 million to you?